Also tonight, arson for hire. A man burned out of his home in Buffalo's Old First Ward, and now the FBI believes it may have been a hate crime. And a neighbor gave a stunning reaction today after learning that fiery crime may have been rooted in racism. This is the latest development, a story we've been following very closely since last year. News 4's Ed Drantch has more on what happened today, and we want to warn you some of the statements you're about to hear may be offensive. Ed?
Don, federal prosecutors stopped short of calling this a hate crime, but continued to look for evidence to prove it as such. We went back to the Buffalo community today asking if hate fueled the fire. Tonight, you may be shocked by what one neighbor has to say. Federal investigators have been looking into this Mackinaw Street fire for more than a year. Prosecutors say the house in the Old First Ward was intentionally set on fire.
So the property owner and the victim was a refugee that had fled oppression and immigrated to the United States in pursuit of the American dream.
Now investigators are looking for more evidence to prove race may have been a motivating factor. They're offering a reward to anyone who can help with further information leading to an arrest of the person who burned the house down.
The elements of the case indicate that there possibly may be a hate crime motivated incident. We want to get to the bottom of it.
I went back to the Buffalo neighborhood to see if residents believe race could have played a role in the crime. That's where I met this man who was working to repair a home damaged in last year's fire. They're classifying this fire as a potential hate crime. What do you think about that?
I think that if people just stayed in their own side of town, their own neighborhood, that things like that wouldn't happen.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, every race and color has their own section of Buffalo almost, so if they just stay on their own side, things like this wouldn't happen.
He says he's lived in the Old First Ward for more than 30 years.
People in these neighborhoods don't want those type of people moving down here and ruining the property value and destroying the neighborhood, so when things like that happen, it shouldn't be such a shock.
What do you mean by those types of people?
Minorities, African Americans.
Why are you coming out and saying these things?
Because I own a home and I see what happens when they move into the neighborhood. Property value goes down, kids on the corner, crime goes up. The East Side used to be a beautiful place. Look what they did to that.
But not everyone felt the same way. One woman who moved to the area right before last year's fire said she was disappointed to learn the crime could be racially motivated. You're standing here looking at the empty lot. What goes through your mind?
It seemed like this was their dream. They came here, I think from the Congo, probably to have a better life, and this is what they have now.
Despite the mix of opinion, this man stands by his assertion. Do you think there's anything wrong with what you're saying?
I don't feel there's anything wrong with it. A lot of people would feel wrong about it, but I don't.
The FBI is yet to charge anyone with a hate crime, but as we've reported, one man is facing arson-related charges. If you know anything about the crime, you're asked to call the FBI at 856-7800. Live, Ed Drantch, News 4 at 5.